The Modern Man tutorials. Simping is a female trait. All right, so the thing is females are supposed to be the only ones simping. They're the ones that are supposed to be chasing guys. That's, that's how it's always been. That's the way it always should be. It always works out best that way anyway when a female is chasing you. Just like the best time to approach them, right? To approach a female, like a woman, and talk to her is when she already gave you the choosing signal, right? When she already lets you know that she's interested in you. Now it's time for you to talk to her, right? You don't just see a chick and be like, oh, she's hot. Let me just approach her. Because you got, first off, if she's hot, right, if you consider her hot, more likely she has a boyfriend or she already has a whole bunch of guys that approach her. Which is why you got to always think that everything you do has to be the opposite of what every other guy does, right? Or what you think every other guy does. For example, every other guy is going to give her a compliment on her looks. Don't do that. Every guy is going to typically approach without even uh, any eye contact or choosing signals, or approach with the intent of trying to talk and holler, right? As opposed to just it just being a natural conversation. Like for example, she might be next to some um, books or something, and you say, "Excuse me," in case she's in your way. So that right there gives you the ability to say something to her, right? Excuse me. You have a book, and you be like, "Hmm, is this book? Is this book any good?" Now, remember, you're saying it to yourself. Or you're saying it to yourself out loud, which means she hears you, and if she, you know, has something to say, she'll say something, right? If she doesn't have nothing to say, she won't say nothing, right? So that right there lets you know if she's interested in talking to you or not, right? If, or I should say, if she feels comfortable talking to you now. Most reasons why most females reject you when you approach them and talk to them is because they're not interested in talking. Like they weren't prepared to talk. They weren't expecting a conversation, right? So when it just suddenly happens, it gets a little awkward. Some females are shy. Some females are introverts. For all you know, this was probably the first time she's been out the house because her friends, asked her to, come out with them. So a lot of times it's not you. A lot of times it's not that she doesn't like you or anything like that. It's just circumstances. But you don't know this. That's the point. You don't know it. Since you don't know, you're going to approach her, try to talk to her, but then she acts awkward or not interested, or she acts like, you're bothering her or whatnot. And then it becomes a bad experience. And it's only because you don't know her situation, you don't know her circumstances. You don't know, maybe she just broke up with her boyfriend and she's not interested in guys talking to her, right? So these are all these things you don't know that already automatically is against you. So that's why it makes it hard to approach, which is why it's not a good idea to approach. You want to approach when they're happy, right? When they want you to approach. When they want you to approach, that means everything's going good in their life, right? They're definitely interested in talking if they're giving you choosing signals. So this is why they're supposed to either come to you and start this conversation, or let you know that you should come over and talk to them, or they'll try to make themselves available by deliberately walking away from their group of friends or whatever group they're with, right? Or just a crowd, and they try to put themselves in a place, in a situation where they're alone, so it'd be easier for you to walk up to them and say hi and whatnot. These are signs of choosing signals, right? Um, but like I said, they need to be the ones to simp. They're the ones that needs to show you interest. If they're not showing you interest, it's not a good idea to approach them because they're going to be on the defense. You're automatically a stranger to them. You gotta understand that most females, when they like a guy, they'll start noticing things about him. They'll start judging you. As much as they say they don't like to be judged or they don't judge, that's a lie. They judge all the time. That's how they live their life, judging everything. They have to judge everything. So they're going to be judging you. They're going to be judging the way you walk, the way you talk, the way you smell, the way you dress, and the list goes on and on and on of all the things they're judging, which is why you need to improve as much about you as possible. The way you smell, the way you dress, the way you look, the way you act, the way you speak, and the list goes on, right? Even what you own, materialistic stuff, right? All those things you have to take to account that it's going to make you attracted to her because she's counting all those things, she's adding all that up. It's kind of like she's shopping. For us guys, we'll be okay with like some drinks and a couple snacks. But females, they like to go grocery shopping when they go to shop, right? When they go out, they want to buy a whole bunch of stuff. So when they look at a guy, it's the same thing. They want a whole bunch of stuff. So for us, we look at females like a nice, tasty snack. They look at us as a buffet, right? They look at us as a whole course meal, and they want everything, right? They want the steak and the potatoes and the lobsters and the champagne. Like they want all of it, right? So they want all that stuff. So they judge us that way. So if she's really, really into you, well, you're a buffet right now. You're you're what she wants. So that's a good thing because that makes your life easier. And that's the thing. Her wanting you makes it easier for you to interact with her, to talk to her, because all you have to do is be yourself. She's already feeling you, right? She's already vibing with you. She's already interested in you. So you don't have to try to impress her. She's already impressed. That's the whole point. You rather deal with a chick that is impressed. You want to deal with a chick that likes you legitimately, right? Not likes you because you impressed her the first time y'all met. No, she already was impressed prior to you speaking to her and her getting to know you, right? She's already vetting you. So that's the thing. Simping, when it comes to females, is essentially vetting. It's like they already took down the defenses, basically, right? Because now they want you to invade, as they say, right? So they take down the defenses. And now they're making themselves available and open to you, and that's what you want. Her be open to who you are as a person, and talk and interact. It's very important when you talk and interact with the ladies. You talk to them and interact with them a lot like the way you would with guy friends, or a guy, or like a guy you would meet for the first time, and you're trying to get to know who he is as a person, right? You need to do the same thing with the females. Instead of trying to say things and do things to try to impress them, remember they're already impressed by you. You need to be yourself, right? You need to um, treat them like you're curious about what's going on in their life, what's going on in their day, what's in general, what's going on in their mind. You already know what's going on with their body. They're hot. You already know that. You already like what you see. So the next step is who they are, right? And usually we know that who they are as a person can be a deal breaker. It's like if you find out she's a serial killer, it's like, oh yeah, I don't really date serial killers, so got to go. I mean, logic, right? So you already like what you see. So the next step is to find out if you like who she is. So that's why it's important to ask questions about what she does, this, that, and third. Plus, another reason for this, other than, it's just what you should be doing, because it's only logical, is the fact that most females do complain that guys, when they approach, they typically try not to get to know them. And they want you to know them. Well, as a guy who likes females, you should know them, right? You should know them better than they know themselves. Like biologically, right? Understand how they act biologically, which is why simping is a female trait, not really a man trait. So if you're simping as a guy, you're being weak. You're being feminine. Simping is a female trait. They're supposed to be a little out of, be a little bit out of control when they're around you, you know, where they're open to anything. So much so that they're sitting on your lap and whatnot, because that's one of the things that I'm used to when females simp for me, is that they want to be intimate. They want to be physical with me. Maybe not in 100% the sexual capacity, right? But they want some form of physicality. So they'll sit on my lap, or they'll hold my, or they'll wrap their arms around my arm. They want to hold hands or something, or they just want to be close to me. They want me to, hug them or something. This happens a lot. I've been in scenarios where I'd be like on a couch on my laptop and just have some chicks just leaning over, looking over my shoulders, like, okay, you know, typically that would be seen as like, that's kind of rude, looking over somebody's shoulder, but it is a female. I don't tend to mind, um, especially because I know why she's doing it, right? So that always tends to be funny. I've even had scenarios where females who act like they're not interested in me literally be in situations with me where it's like, yeah, while we're having this conversation or while we on the couch together, and it's not like you're on one side of the couch, I'm on the other side. You're all over me. You're leaning against me. Suddenly you're starting to fall asleep. It's like, okay, this, you know, doesn't make much sense unless you like me, which is the typical thing, right? Just like asking me questions and it's like, oh, what's your favorite position? It's like, this, that, or third, like, asking me some type of sex question. What's funny is when I give them the answer of like what I like, then they want to complain and tell me how, like, tell me what they like, right? Which is fine. I told you what I like. You told me what you like. That's fine. But then they want to convince me to like what they like. It's like, no, I like what I like. You asked me a question about what I like, and I gave you an answer. But now you're trying to convince me to like what you like. It's like, okay, I know what this means. I know what this is about. Because think about it logically. Me, me doing the sexual position you like doesn't matter unless we are doing that sexual position together. Then it matters. Then I get it. It's like, okay, that's what you like. Okay, that's what I'll do for you. But we're not in that situation, right? We're not boyfriend girlfriend. So I'll be talking about the position that you like, and you trying to convince me to like it as well. It's like I didn't say I'm against the position. I'm just saying that that's not my preferred position, right? But this is one of those signs I'm talking about when it comes to the ladies simping. It's like, they really, really want what they want. It's like, all right, whatever. If that's what you like, that's what you like. So you say, but I'm gonna be firm. It's like, well, I like what I like. It's like you're not gonna convince me to stop liking what I like. But however, though, I'm not against what you like. I'm not saying I'm against what you like. I'm just letting you know I like what I like, and you're not gonna change my mind on it. That's the whole point. Just I like what I like, and that will always be true. Like I like Asian chicks, but there'll be some chicks who are not Asian that try to convince me to like a different race, right? It's like, I like what I like. I'm not against other races. I'm just saying I have a preference. So I'm not against dating a chick that's not Asian. I'm just saying that that's my preference. Asian chicks are my preference, so I, they get top priority when it comes to being with me. But I'm not against dating other chicks, right? I've dated black chicks, Hispanic chicks, white chicks. So, so that's the thing. But like I said, man, simping is 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 a female thing, and it's something you want them to do. You don't, because one, right now you're already going to know, especially if you're online talking to chicks, or trying to, right? Like there's a chick you see online and you're interested in getting her attention, which is the important thing. Getting her attention. She's already going to have a whole bunch of simping for her. You don't have a shot with her if you're simping too, because you're just going to be categorized as a simp, and she's not going to mess with you because you're just a simp. Which is why it's not a good idea to be a simp as a guy. So don't simp, right? Try to stand out. Try to do something. Try to say something that will get her attention, that will get her to conversate with you. Typically, one way to get her to talk to you is to get her to disagree with you on something. So if she has a post and she said something, let's say hypothetically, she's like pro-choice, and you're like, your comment is like, pro-life sounds better, and then she starts responding to you. Well, there you go. You got her attention. The thing is, be careful of not, kind of attacking her, right? Just keep trying to, promote over and over again the whole pro-life thing, right? As a hypothetical example for this situation. But if you want to make a point, right? Because it's a conversation, right? You want to point out some points of what pro-life is about and make some points for pro-choice, because it's very important to make it understood that you understand both sides. You understand pro-choice, but you also understand pro-life, for example. But you lean towards pro-life as an example in this hypothetical, right? That way she understands why you're the position you're in, but you are understanding of the other position, right? Because ultimately you want to make sure that both of y'all are understanding one another, and that's a very important detail when it comes to dealing with women, is understanding, agreeing, at least agree to disagree. You're not always going to agree on the same on everything, but at least learn to agree to disagree, where y'all at least understand each other, even if y'all still disagree, right? Most arguments, most issues comes from misunderstandings. Not that, oh, okay, I understand why you believe what you believe. You understand what I believe, but I hate you, block you. No, it's always, you're wrong. I think you're wrong. I know I'm right, blah, blah, blah. And it gets all emotional. It gets all petty. And that's where a lot of issues come from. That's why a lot of guys have problems interacting with females, talking with females. Usually because of that situation, a lot of miscommunication. A lot of relationships start going downhill because of lack of communications. And as guys, we're good at problem solving. Well, we're supposed to be. So get better at problem solving, guys. Make sure you always have communication. You want to make sure you always know mentally where your girlfriend, right, your wife is at mentally. Because if she's feeling unappreciated, unloved, you know, not sexy, blah blah blah, all the things that they usually feel before they start cheating, you need to make sure you know where she's at, right, emotionally, not necessarily mentally per se, but mentally, but her mental state is uh, influenced by her emotions, which is why it's important to understand emotion. Plus, simping is an emotional thing. It's a behavior trait of emotions, which is why it's a female thing, not a guy thing. Guys shouldn't be getting emotional and shouldn't be simping, which is why you gotta have self-control and control yourself, control your emotions. Which in turn, when you're an expert at controlling your own emotions, you're an expert in controlling other people's emotions, which is not a bad thing. It's not a, oh, you're manipulative. No, it's control. Because when you're a leader, you're supposed to be control, right? As a leader, you're supposed to be able to control things, be able to control the people you're leading, right? Be able to tell them, you know, to do something, and they'll trust you because they understand and you understand. They trust your judgment because they know that you understand. That's why, as a leader, as a man, you're supposed to understand females, right? You understand women, so that way when you ask them to do something, they'll gladly do it because of the understanding. They know where you're coming from. There won't be no miscommunications when you ask them to do something. Like, hey, sit on my lap, and they'll just do it. So, the better you are at controlling your emotions, the better you are at controlling others who are emotional, right? That's just a skill that you should develop. And that's the end of the video.